Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Veronica Alvarez, and we have a great presentation talking about government benefits. I know that us as parents with children and youth with disabilities have a lot of questions about the topic, and thank you, our speaker, for being with us today. Before I make the introduction of her, I'm going to talk a little bit about Partner Resource Network for the person that is the first time that they are hearing our webinars, and for you guys to know more about our services. So who we are, Partner Resource Network is the parent training and information centers for Texas. We are funded by the Department of Education, the Office of Special Education Programs, to provide free resources and training for parents of children with disabilities and self-advocates. Our mission is to empower and support Texas families and individuals impacted by disabilities or special healthcare needs. Who we serve all parents with children with disabilities, youth with disabilities. Our age range goes from 0 to 26, so from birth to 26 years old. So we serve also youth with disabilities that we call them self-advocates. This is an example or a fact sheet with our information, with a lot of QR codes, how to go to our webpage, what is the PTI, the Parent Training and Information Center, fact sheets, all of this good stuff. We serve in all the states, and Partner Resource Network was first founded in 1988, and now we have 4 projects serving families. I'm part of the team project that you can see there in the red area. I'm here in Austin in the 13 area. But if you are here for another part of the state and you want to connect with the regional coordinator near you, please put it there in the chat box, send me an email, and I can put you in contact with the regional coordinator near you. So yeah. So we have the 4 projects. We have in North Texas, the PACT project. We have in the Gulf, the PATH project. Here in the Central Texas and Rio Grande Valley, the TEAM project. And West Texas, we have the PEN project. Our services are free, and we offer workshops, webinars, information and referrals, one-on-one technical assistance. We do a lot of support in our meetings. We go to IEP meetings, our meetings, review paperwork with you guys. And we do a conference. Every regional coordinator, we do one a year. So mine is coming up in September 13th. For people that are here in Austin, you are invited. I can send you the invitation if you need more information about that. We offer also parent leadership trainings, youth leadership trainings. Over the summer, we offer these youth camps, access to social media resources, and free and online self-paced courses. Everything about education, guys. This is the websites when you can find all the resources that I'm talking about. And this is an example of our Facebook page. We have also a Facebook page. If you wanted to please give us a like or follow us. We have a great information about our events in there too. So this is my name, Veronica Alvarez. All my information, I put it in the chat box for you guys also. All right, I think I'm going to stop my sharing. And I see someone raised your hand. Let me remind you guys that your microphone and your camera is off for this presentation, but you can type your question in the chat box or use the Q&A. I'm going to also be monitoring that for your questions. Michelle preferred the chat box. Please, if you can use that one, is great. So, okay, we are going to start our class today. We have here Michelle Morris with Consolidated Planning Group. She's a financial planner, and she's a great speaker, and she's been giving us these classes for a long time. So welcome again, Michelle. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm really happy to be here. Thank you so much for hosting and for sharing us with your audience. these webinars are just so great, and we really appreciate everything that you do, along with all of your partner resource network peers for the state of Texas and all across the country. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who is here with me today. I see that we have 73 people out there listening right now, and more will probably join and more will probably watch later. So welcome, everybody. I don't know if this is the first webinar with us with Consolidated Planning Group that you've been to, or the 5th or 15th or 50th, but either way, welcome, and I'm glad you're here. Um, yes, we will be sending out a recording, a link to the recording. Um, we put all of our webinars, and we at Consolidated Planning Group do webinars 2 or 3 times a week. And we put them all on our YouTube channel. So it has become a great resource library for parents to go check out. We will send you a link to that recording, and we will also be sending the slides. So as we go through this presentation today, if you see a link, it will be clickable in those slides later on when you receive those. Again, the chat box is the easiest for me to keep an eye on while I present. I can have it up on my screen. I can see the questions and answers come through, so I appreciate that. So Consolidated Planning Group, who are we and why do we do these webinars in the first place? Well, we are a special needs focused financial planning firm. We're located just outside of Houston in Sugar Land, Texas, but we work all across the United States. Most of the webinars that we do focus on Texas. However, if you happen to be here from a different state, maybe somebody sent you a link or you saw it on Facebook or something, I'm glad you're here and we can still help you. And much of today's information will still apply to you. We have over 30 years of experience in financial services, but the owner of our company, as her children were growing up, she realized that they had some special needs. And so, as she was going through the maze of finding resources and planning for their future, she thought to herself, I'm a financial advisor. I should know this stuff. And it's really difficult. So let's become a company that is going to educate families and advocate for them and serve them as the financial planning experts who really know the nuances of special needs planning. We are members of the Special Needs Planning Academy. We are nationally certified as Social Security advisors, and I'm a chartered special needs consultant through the American College of Financial Services. Almost all of the clients that we serve have a loved one with some kind of intellectual or developmental disability. And people come to us. You can't hear me? I'm so sorry. I'll move closer and speak louder. People come to us for things like protection planning. What does it look like for your family if the main breadwinner is suddenly unable to work or has passed away? How can we help protect your family against those risks and those situations? What about lifetime planning for the care of your child? Once you're gone and you're not here, what's going to happen with your loved one? Transition planning, the transition of what happens when they turn 18, what happens when they graduate, what happens when you pass away, what happens when they move. Um, I see in the chat box, B is saying that she can't hear me. I hope somebody else will confirm that they can hear me. Anyway, we also do ABLE accounts. We help you
I think
understand.
it's just B. Thank you, guys.
Okay, great, everybody. Thank you. Oh, hi, Axel. I see some friends out there. I see people I know, Cynthia and Axel and uh, Randy,
Kelma.
names I've seen before. So welcome back, everybody. Okay. So, and we're here to advocate for you and to educate for you. I always like to point out that In the United States, there are over 263,000 financial advisors. But out of those 263,000, fewer than 200 financial advising firms across the United States truly focus on families like yours, and we are one of them. That's less than 0.1%. So it might be pretty hard to find financial advisors and other supports who understand these things. So you can hear me, I can see the chat, we're good to go. So let's get into it. There are two very different benefits that we often talk about, and sometimes they get confused because the names are similar. SSDI and SSI are going to impact your lives a lot. So it's important to understand the differences. So first of all, let's talk about SSDI. This is Social Security Disability Insurance. Now, somebody who has a work record and who has paid into Social Security can get Social Security disability payments, right? That's your SSDI. This, the funds come from the Disability Trust Fund, and it's an insurance that you get by paying into Social Security. You pay those taxes in your paycheck, and then this program is funded, and those funds are available to you if you have a disability, if you become disabled, or things like that, if you need it. It does not matter how much income you've made or how much resources you have. Um, Now, the benefits are typically for workers, but if you are an adult disabled person and your parent has worked, but you're unable to work, you can draw benefits from your parent's record. As long as the parent has paid into Social Security, the disabled adult child is able to draw those benefits. Now, for the child, sometimes people refer to it as SSDI. Sometimes people refer to it as DAC, Disabled Adult Child Benefits. Sometimes they're called CDB, Childhood Disability Benefits. But these are all the same thing. It's this SSDI program. Now, the other program is SSI, Supplemental Security Income. This is paid for through the general revenue funds. It is not paid for money that is taken out of people's paychecks. It's not like that. This is different. This is a needs-based public assistance program that is, it does not require a work history. It does require that you have very limited income and very limited assets. And this is a benefit that is more for children and adults who are in financial need and have very little assets and are disabled. The asset limit for SSI is $2,000. So if your child has more than $2,000 in the bank or other assets, they won't be able to qualify. So let's look at how these two work together a little bit. And this is what your overall timeline might look like. There are some exceptions, but typically, when your child is diagnosed for any kind of disability, or even if you think that there is something there, you should get in touch with your local LIDA. That LIDA stands for Local Intellectual and Developmental Disability Authority. You want to get on the waiting list for those waiver programs as soon as you have any hint that there might be a diagnosis. You don't have to wait for the diagnosis. You just have to get on that list. You can call your local authority. That would be something like MHMR, Bluebonnet, Tri-County. In Fort Bend, it's Texana. In Harris County, it's the Harris Center. ACOG in certain areas. If you've heard of those, that's what I'm talking about when I say your local authority or LIDA. The other thing that you can do is you could go to yourtexasbenefits.com. You can create an account for your loved one with their name and info, and then put them on the waiting lists through that website. These waiting lists can be between 17 and 20 years long. So it is very important that you get on that waiting list as soon as possible. Now, typically, like I said, at diagnosis, your child will get on this waiting list, we hope, and then they're trucking along. And typically, your child will not be able to qualify for SSI benefits until they turn 18. The reason for that is because when a minor applies for SSI, they're going to look at the parent's assets and income as belonging to the minor. So most people won't qualify. When your child turns 18, though, they're going to look at the child's own assets and income. And as long as your child is not above the limits that we're going to talk about, they should be able to qualify. They have to qualify under income, assets, and the disability. Now, when they get SSI, they will also get Medicaid with that. So then they go for several years after turning 18 years old, receiving their SSI, and they're on Medicaid. And then later on, when the parent turns on their Social Security benefit, it could be their Social Security retirement benefit when they turn, when they're in their late 60s, or maybe the parent becomes disabled or the parent passes away. Those are all triggers where the child could then switch over to the SSDI benefit under the parent's record. The child, I see the question in the chat box, and Jay says, the adult disabled child does not have to work to get those benefits. That's correct. You can get the benefits just based on the parent's work record. And again, that happens when the parent's Social Security benefit is turned on for some reason. Now, once your child switches to SSDI, they will most likely lose SSI because SSDI will be more money and you can only receive the higher benefit. Once your child is on the SSDI benefit for 2 years under your record, they will get Medicare. They will keep Medicaid and they will have Medicare as well, a dual eligibility situation. Okay. There are some hoops and loops and tricks that we're going to talk about, and we will address some of these. I received a question prior to today's webinar, and of course, you're welcome to put questions in the chat box. Let's go through some of the other things before I grab Matt's question and so forth. So, in order to be able to be qualified as disabled for SSDI and SSI benefits, it has to be a physical or mental impairment. This disability is expected to last 12 months or more or result in death. They do look at the person's age, their education, or not really their education level, but their IQ and whether or not they're in school. And they do consider any past work activity. In order to get SSDI under the parent's record or to be able to get SSI, you have to be unable to perform substantial work activity. Okay. What is that? What is substantial gainful activity, substantial work activity? For 2025, that amount is $1,620 a month. If the individual is blind, they can make more money. They can make $2,700 a month. But if you go over this amount of earnings in a month, you could lose some of those SSI benefits and SSI benefits and not be eligible to receive them. And then SSDI will watch throughout the life of the claim. If you start working, they're going to notice that, and your benefits could be reduced. Okay. Right now, 2025, and this number changes a little bit every year. The full benefit that you can get under SSI is $967 a month for an individual. Now, if it's a couple, and yes, this makes me really mad. If it's a couple where both people are disabled, you would think that each person would get $967 a month, but that's not what happens. The benefit is reduced, and the couple would receive $1,450 a month, not $967 each. Now, there is no chart like this for SSDI benefit rates because that amount is based on the parent's work record. So it depends on how much you as a parent have earned and what your Social Security benefits look like. Now, the other thing I mentioned is that your child has to be deemed disabled under the eyes of Social Security. The Blue Book is another name for the book that the Social Security Administration uses to find out if they consider your child to be disabled. So the link there, the standalone link, is going to take you to the Blue Book. And what you'll do is you'll look under either child or adult headings. If your individual is 18 or above, you're going to look at adult listings, and you're going to look up any diagnosis that they have and see what do you need to prove to show that they are considered disabled under the eyes of Social Security. And you want to look up all of their diagnoses, okay? Again, these links will be clickable when you receive these slides later on today. I'm going to go through a couple more, and then when we finish the discussion regarding SSI and SSDI, I'm going to jump back into these questions. So it's fine if you post them in there. I will get to your questions. So you should apply for SSI when your child turns 18. Now, our advice has been you can apply the day after. However, we're learning that there might be a change to Social Security rules. And now they're saying that you should wait until the month after your child's 18th birthday. So for example, if your child turns 18 today, then on September 1st, you can go ahead and apply for benefits through SSI. You apply for these benefits online. And if you have to call your local Social Security office, that's fine, but make sure you're talking to your local office. When you start your application online, they're going to save that date as long as it's after your child's birthday. And payments could be backdated to when you started the application. When you sit down to get started, you're going to want to have some things ready to go, like your child, the individual's doctors contact info, you know, where can we reach out to the doctor to find out and make sure that the child has this disability? What medications are they on? What are their diagnoses? Are they working? If they have an employer, Social Security is going to want to see pay stubs. They're also going to want to see 3 months worth of bank statements if your child has a bank account. That's to check the income and asset limit. Now, it's also very, very beneficial for you to have evidence that shows that your child was disabled before age 22. So if you're kind of getting into that age range and you just know your child is disabled, but the doctors never really put it in their records, you need to have it in your doctor's records that your child has this disability in order to prove eligibility for these benefits that your kid will get later, like the SSDI stuff. When you apply, a decision can take up to a year, sometimes even longer. After your local office finalizes your file, they've got all the application materials they need. They're going to send everything off to the Disability Determination Services office. Every state has one. For Texas, it's in Austin. And you can call that 800 number to check on your file and see if they've been assigned the file, if they're missing any information that they need, or who is working on your case. Now, if your child has what they call a presumptive disability, things are going to move a little bit faster for you. And they can pretty much provide the determination at the local office rather than sending off for approval from DDS. There's a full list online of what these compassionate allowances are, or the presumptive disabilities, but it's things like Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, total deaf or blindness, if you're missing a leg at the hip, or you're confined to a bed, any of these things, an intellectual disability, these things can help you get through the process a lot faster. Okay, so I want to stop here because we're going to talk about other things other than qualifying for SSDI and SSI. So now I'm going to jump into the chat and see if any of your questions fall under that purview. My daughter was transitioned from SSI to SSDI in May. Congratulations. Sometimes when this happens, there are issues. Let's see what your issue is, Matt. He says that when I started receiving Social Security benefits in July, we received a letter saying that her Medicaid would be canceled since she's no longer receiving SSI, and we were instructed to reapply for Medicaid. So, Matt, and anyone else who this happens to, because this is a very common thing that we hear of, I even have notes about it right here in my handy dandy notebook that tell me that if a person receives that letter that they're going to lose Medicaid when they're moving from SSI to SSDI, you need to file a new H-1200 form. And at the top of your H-1200, you want to write MEPD Medicaid, and then write mandatory Medicaid group. Write that in big letters at the top of the page and tell them you are in this special group that keeps the Medicaid, even though you're switching from one benefit to the other. You can even send a cover letter that will explain, your child's disability and the fact that you need to keep those Medicaid waiver programs especially. Okay, so Matt, all you need to do is that new H-1200 form. You should be good to go. Next question. Can you say the website again that allows me to add my kid on the list? It's called Your Texas Benefits. I'm not good at talking and typing at the same time. There you go. YourTexasBenefits.com is the website that you want to go to.
Got it. I also shared the one that you can go to the page of hhstx.gov to find your local authority. You just click there and put your zip code, and they are going to tell you where is your next close office for you, kind of thing.
Perfect. I love that. So let's see. That was Lamisa or Lamissa. That's the website. When you're completing a life plan with families, Elke. Okay, Elke says, when completing life plan with families, the opposite often happens. They qualified when they were a minor, but once they turn 18, they don't. Do you know, are you talking about SSI or SSDI? Or is this a special situation where you might want to set up a free consultation with us so that we can dig in on that? Elke, maybe give me more details about your question. Scarlett wants to know, my daughter became disabled at 16 and has no work history. Okay, that's fine. She would qualify for SSDI since I paid into Social Security. and would qualify for SSI since she's 19. Okay, so if your child, if you try to turn on SSDI when your child turns 18, if you're not retired, you don't have your own Social Security benefits turned on for any reason. As a parent, your child is going to be denied because they need to go on SSI first. SSDI will come later when the parent has turned on their Social Security benefits for some reason. Okay. Uh, Veronica, did you have something else to add? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go on a few more and then go back a few more. We'll just go back and forth like that a couple times. I promise I'm keeping my place on where we are with the questions. And Mike, will they lose Medicaid if receiving SSDI? No. They'd be dual eligible, Medicaid and Medicare once they're on SSDI. Now, what happens if your child works? Remember, we said that the income limit is $1,620 per month, unless they're blind. So let's assume your child is making under that limit. They will still receive SSI benefit, but those benefits will be reduced. And here's how they figure out what your child will still be paid. First, they take off $85 in exclusions. So if your child was making $1,200 gross monthly income, that number is now $1,115, right? So you divide that number in half. Whatever that is, in our situation, $557.50, you subtract that from the total amount your child could receive, which this year is $967, and you see a balance of $409.50. It's about, they'll get benefits of $1 for every $2 that they earn. Now, if they go over that $1,620, they will not get any SSI money, but they might still be eligible for Medicaid because the Medicaid rules are a little bit different. Tom says, if they're in school, will they not be eligible? Perfect question, because there is actually a student earned income exclusion. Now, you have to ask the Social Security office for this. They're not going to give it to you automatically. If your child is receiving benefits and they are in school, they can actually earn a little bit more before their benefit starts getting reduced. They have to be regularly attending school. And what this does is that instead of their monthly earned income limit being $1,620, it goes up to $2,350. You can read here about what they consider regularly attending school, and you can refer back to this slide for details. This is only for people under age 22 who are in school. Again, you have to ask for this. They're not going to just give it to you. And the red book, we've already talked about the blue book. That's how they figure out impairments and if your child qualifies as having a disability. The red book is all about employment-related provisions. So if you have a child that is going to be working, you might want to check out the red book to see how that will affect them. Okay. Melissa wants to know, as soon as my son turned 18 last month, it seems like they're not honoring childhood disability and his father's SSDI record since he's passed. Okay. So in this situation, and this happens sometimes, you know, if a parent passes away while children are still minors, there are benefits for those minor children. Whether or not those minor children have a disability, there are benefits for minor children if an adult parent passes away. I hope you're following me. Now, once those minor children turn 18 or finish school, I believe, you can keep that benefit throughout high school. But once they graduate from high school, they would lose that benefit unless this is also a child with a disability. In that case, where you have a parent who passed away before the 18th birthday, you have a child with a disability, you may have to reapply because you're switching kind of to a different program behind the scenes. But they should reinstate those benefits very quickly as soon as you call and let them know that a mistake has been made. Again, you might want to file a new H-1200 form, mark it, mandatory Medicaid group, and see how that goes for you. In the perfect scenario, you would be able to turn on SSI first and get locked in for Medicaid. But if the parent has already passed away, the Social Security Administration might force you to go straight to SSDI benefits, which again, you'll get Medicare 2 years after you get on those benefits. Summer SGA, that $1,620 a month that they're able to earn, it is not an average. They actually look every month at the income for the child. Okay, I see that Marie has a long-ish question and explanation. So let me try to get to the crux of it. Um, she's talking about SSDI and SSI and the waiver programs. I'm going to save that for when we discuss the waiver programs. And we'll pause with Marie's question and get back. Okay, so child support, let's talk about that real quick. In the United States, we've all heard the statistic that 50% of marriages end in divorce. However, when there is a child with a disability in the mix, that rate increases substantially to about 80%. So if child support is a thing in your life, you can get child support that goes beyond age 18 when you have an individual with a disability. But that child support, if it goes beyond age 18, they're going to count that as income for your child, unless you have it put into a first party special needs trust. So currently what they do is if you have child support coming in, they're going to exclude a third of the child support payment and count 2/3 of the payment as income to your child. If you have an attorney set it up correctly so that the child support is paid directly to the first party special needs trust, this will not be a problem for you. If you don't have it set up that way yet, and both parents agree, it's a pretty easy fix. But yes, you want the child support, any child support that goes to your child after they turn 18 should go to a first party special needs trust. All right. SSDI. This is the benefit that your child will get after you, as a parent or guardian, turn on your Social Security benefits for whatever reason. Okay. Your child has to be over age 18. They have to have a disability that started before age 22. The parent has to have worked and earned those benefits. The individual with a disability cannot be married. That's the second place they kind of stick it to those people who want to get married, right? And you cannot have previously performed that substantial gainful activity. So if your child, for example, they graduate from high school, they've had their disability, they're 19 years old maybe, and they go work and they're earning more than $1,620 a month. If they do that and then they try to go on your SSDI benefit, they're going to be denied because they may have earned their own SSDI benefits by working. Now, if they haven't worked enough, there are different stages of work, and that's a whole nother webinar we can do. But the stages of work might interfere with them receiving or not receiving their SSDI benefits. And if you have specific questions that you don't want to put in the chat box, or if I happen to miss you, or if it's too complicated to answer in this easy setting, feel free to schedule a free consultation with us. So let's talk about how that benefit works, the SSDI. Okay, when you turn on your Social Security as a parent, maybe you turn it on because you retire, hopefully. Maybe you turn on your Social Security because you become disabled. Or maybe your Social Security is turned on because you pass away. That switches your child into this new benefit, the DAC, Disabled Adult Child, or CDB, Childhood Disability Benefits. It's easiest just to lump them all under the SSDI title. After 24 months of receiving those benefits, your child will be able to get Medicare. Now, when the parent passes away, rather than getting half of the parent's benefit, the child's benefit will go up to 75%. Now, when I say the child receives half of the parent's benefit, it doesn't mean that you only get half of yours and they get the other half. You get your full benefit and your child gets half of that amount extra. So let's say you as a parent, you had a really great job and your Social Security retirement benefit is $4,000 a month. Your disabled child turns on their CDB benefits because you're in your late 60s, you've turned on your retirement. It's time for them to switch over. They're going to start getting $2,000 a month if you are getting $4,000. You will still get your same $4,000 a month. Then your child will be on that for 2 years. They'll get their Medicare. And then after that, at some point, you pass away. Your child's benefit will go from $2,000 a month to $3,000 a month, which is 75%. Now, sometimes if there's a non-working spouse, or if you have more than one child with a disability, you could butt up against the family maximums. So the numbers might not be precisely half or 75% due to those family maximums. But don't ask what those family maximums are because they make it nearly impossible to figure out. They themselves at the Social Security office say the family maximum is somewhere between 150 to 180%. We do our best to try to help our clients figure that out. Okay, so let's before we dip into the benefits, let's look at a couple more questions. Regarding the disability, how to determine if they qualify as having a disability, look at the Blue Book. It will say in there, so you say your daughter is high functioning autistic. So what the Blue Book will say, you look under the heading of autism, and it will tell you what you need to show. You might want to have a conversation with your doctor, your child's doctor, and have them note in your child's record whether or not the doctor thinks that they're going to be able to work, or whether or not the doctor thinks those criteria are met. Now, maximizing SSI benefits. This is a great question. If your child is not paying you rent, you might be receiving an amount around $644 a month in SSI benefits instead of the full $967 a month. That is an easy fix. What you need to do is tell them that your child is paying you rent. I would go ahead and schedule a consultation with us because we have a free, not a free, we have a template that you can send in that says, yes, we're charging our child rent. Here's the amount. And then your child will be bumped up to the full amount. We can tell you how that works. Okay. When I retire, will my 22-year-old daughter qualify for Medicare? She will qualify for Medicare after she's been receiving those benefits for 2 years. Okay. Yeah, everything else, I think I've already answered all of these other questions, but keep them coming. Does your child have to have their own bank account for their SSI benefits? In order to apply, no. But once those benefits start coming in, it is a very wise decision to have their own bank account so that you can keep your money and your child's money completely separate. The other thing about their bank account, that transaction record on their bank account is going to be the best, cleanest way for you to track their spending. If you spend anything for your child through their bank account, it just goes onto that transaction record and you don't have to worry about keeping track somewhere else. So that would be very, very wise. And when you're applying, last one I'm going to talk about SSA for right now, or SSI benefits. Should you apply as them with their social or under their parents' login? You should definitely have your child's own login account information with their own social security and their own information. Okay, I'll return back to these questions once we get through some more slides. So make sure your child's assets are in the right buckets, or else they could lose out on these really precious benefits. Make sure that your child is not set up as beneficiary on any of your bank accounts or your life insurance or investments, nothing. And also make sure that if you have any family members or friends or anybody who wants to leave money to help your child, that they understand child money that you leave to your disabled child must go to a third party special needs trust. You never want to leave money straight to them. An attorney will help you figure out how to get that set up, and we can refer you to an attorney. So let's switch a little bit quickly to ABLE accounts. An ABLE account is a specialized savings account that is tax advantaged. The beneficiary is the account owner and, well, they're the owner and the beneficiary, the same person, your child. But this does not count against them for Medicaid or Medicare or any other benefits. The income that is earned in the ABLE account, because there is an investment portion to the ABLE account, it does not taxable. So you can set money aside for your loved one in the ABLE account. I kind of see it as a short-term savings account. The way I have checking and savings in my bank, I'm allowed to have as much as I want, but your child can only have $2,000. So use the ABLE account like their savings account. When you have extra money in the bank account, like in the checking, you switch it over to the ABLE account. And when you need more money in the checking account to buy something, you transfer it from the ABLE to the checking, and then you use the checking account to spend that money as you normally would, like with the debit card or writing a check, whatever you use on their normal bank account. Again, it will be on the transaction register so you can keep track of spending. And as long as the money is used for something that will help your child achieve a better living experience, that's what ABLE stands for. As long as it is for your child, you can use the ABLE account to pay for it. There is very, very few restrictions on the ABLE account. You don't have to prove very much. You have to check a box and sign an affidavit that your child has a disability that started before age 46. Well, starting in 2026, it'll be 46. You can put $19,000 this year into the ABLE account, and that money does not count against them for Medicaid or anything else. You never want your ABLE account to go above $100,000. And there is a reimbursement clause, a Medicaid reimbursement clause on the money in the ABLE account. So if there's money left over when your child passes away, Medicaid can come claim reimbursement for those funds. Now, the ABLE account can pay for anything. You can use it to pay for housing, rent, mortgage, utilities, financial services like what we offer, education, training, vacations, clothing, computers, cars, anything that your child needs, you can use the ABLE account to pay for without causing any issues. I'm going to say that again. You can use the ABLE account for anything. You cannot use your special needs trust for certain things if your child is on SSI still. Remember, I talked about how your child's going to switch from SSI to SSDI. Once they're on SSDI, this rule doesn't apply anymore. I hope that makes sense. But while your child is still on SSI, they should not use the special needs trust to pay for rent, utilities. They cannot get cash. They can't pay for homeowners insurance, none of these things, or else their SSI will be reduced by 1/3. Okay. Other than that, the special needs trust can pay for anything else. Now, so think of it this way. ABLE account, you have a limited amount of money you can put in, but you can use it for anything at any time. With the special needs trust, you can put as much money as you want. It is unlimited amount of money, but there are some restrictions at some times of what you can spend it on. Okay, I hope I've been clear there. Let's get some more of these questions. Under SSDI, if the parents have not retired and don't pay into Social Security, can their adult child get SSDI? No. Your child can only get SSDI if the parent has paid into the system. Otherwise, the child would just stay on SSI payments. Does cancer fit under presumptive disabilities? That is a great thing for you to Google. Form H-1200 is filed electronically. Okay, but you can use a cover letter. Thank you, Marie. Will the chat questions be included? I will try. Waiver program question. Waiver. My son received SSDI 2 years after his father passed away. For 1 year, he had Medicaid and then Medicare. Great. Why might you have to pay for Medicare? I'm not sure, Darlene. It looks like someone in your situation has made a mistake, whether it be the Social Security Administration or someone else. I would suggest a consultation with us so that we can tell you what to do on that. Now, think about what you want your child's future to look like and what you want your future to look like in your retirement, and start planning as early as you possibly can, because the longer runway you have, the better off you're going to be. And be very, very careful. I heard something that I want to repeat to all of you. One of my clients said, yes, we have 3 children. And yes, it would be great if we could leave all 3 children money after we pass away. But the very best thing that we can do for our 2 neurotypical children is to make sure that their brother is taken care of so that they don't have to take care of their brother. And I thought that was profound. Uh, Veronica, do you have something to add?
I will try to also print the questions in the chat because we have a lot, Michelle. I don't know if we can finish them all.
Okay, I'm going to keep going and hopefully we'll get to more of them. But yes, please, please contact me. These are some of the things that you should keep on your planning radar when it comes to thinking about the future. I'm not going to belabor that because I would much rather just show you my slides real quick and get back to your questions. Our upcoming webinars are through this link. You can register in advance. That way you'll be reminded and you'll receive the email afterwards with the slides and the recording. This is our entire team. We are a small group located, like I said, just outside of Houston. And this I'm going to leave up for you. This is how you schedule your free virtual consultation with us. These are usually over about 30 to 45 minutes. They are all over Zoom, and you would either talk to me, Allison Scauberg, the owner of our company, or Andy Morris, my husband and colleague. So we don't bite, I promise. We don't charge anything for this consultation. If you have a question that I don't answer today, definitely Zoom consult. All right. Do you have info about the ABLE account? Yes, we can easily talk you through that. We've even got webinars we've done in the past. This link down here will take you to our YouTube channel where all of those are housed. I began receiving Social Security retirement benefits this year. My disabled adult child switched from SSI to SSDI. My wife is still working and makes too much to qualify for child in care, but she will next year, um, and will apply for her Social Security benefits. Okay, so one thing I want you to think about is that with these additional benefits, most people think that the best way to do it is just to apply for Social Security benefits when they turn 67 or when they wait and do it when they turn 70. But because of these different benefits, we offer a Social Security maximization that will tell you and your spouse exactly when you should turn on your Social Security benefits to get the most for your whole family. Maybe the husband turns it on first because he's older, and that will allow the wife's benefit to continue to grow. But because dad turned it on, child and sometimes wife will get a benefit. Or maybe, we'll tell you it's better to wait, or maybe it'll be vice versa. We can walk you through an exact number for your family on that. I think I've answered that question. Can I apply for SSI on my son's behalf online? Yes. It doesn't matter how old your child is, you can do it on their behalf. It does still take a long time for them to get through all of the files. So your child's age does not have any impact on how quickly their file is going to go through. Now, in terms of the waiver programs and the waiting lists for those, the 17-year waiting list, again, that is separate from SSI, and it has no impact on your SSI benefits getting approved or your waiver benefits getting approved. If you move, I did see this question. Um, I didn't answer this question yet. If you move, it should not affect SSI or SSDI because those are federal programs. However, if you move to a different state, that would affect your waiver benefits because that is a state program. Can child support go straight into the ABLE account? No, it has to go to the First Party Special Needs Trust. SSI for minors is not very typical because as a minor, the parent's income and assets is going to be looked at. If the parent is making more than $1,620 a month or has more than $2,000, one house, only one car, then the child will not qualify. Okay, my adult child born with, how do we prepare for those periods where her health is very unstable? Okay, so sometimes health is good, sometimes it's not. It goes back and forth. Carolyn, you might want to go ahead and schedule a consult so that we can help walk you through those benefits. Are they entitled to 75% of both parents' Social Securities? No. Your child can only get one Social Security payment under one parent's record, and they can go with whichever one is higher, though, or whichever one turns on first. They can switch back and forth. This is overwhelming, Scarlett, and we are the firm that you can hire to walk you through every step of the way. I am so glad that I happened to get to your question and we're running out of time, because let me just say this to everybody who still has questions. that I haven't gotten to. Consolidated Planning Group are experts in special needs planning. We cover the financial part. We help you understand the legal part and refer you to attorneys who can do the legal work for you. We understand Social Security, SSI, retirement benefits, your life. When we work with a client, we do everything that any financial advisor would do for you, but we do it through the lens of understanding that your child might need your help for the rest of their life, not just the rest of your life. And when we put together a financial plan for families, we give them a roadmap of everything that they need to do on the special needs side of the house. And we give them recommendations on their own finances that are things like your retirement and your savings and your life insurance. We do not stop our financial planning at your death. We continue looking at your financial plan all the way through your child's passing. Okay, so please, Scarlett says this is overwhelming, and I know it is. And I know I've given you a lot of information today. Look at our YouTube channel. Look at when you can schedule a Zoom consultation. You can use the QR code. You can call or email the office, or you can call or email me directly. I'm putting my personal email and phone number in the chat box, and I would love to work with you. It does not matter, Patty, if you decide that you don't want to roll over all your assets to us, because my son-in-law is my financial advisor. That's fine. We offer packages of different sizes and different structures. There are some things we can do for free, and there are some things that we charge for. So please just go ahead and schedule. Mike Woods says, yes, we are wonderful, timely, and thorough. Thank you so much for
Thank you
that.
so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Michelle. As a reminder, you're going to receive an email with all the slides, the recording, Michelle's informations. If you didn't have the time to copy in the chat box, you are going to receive today a slide and recording of this presentation. And thank you so much for your time and keep the fighting. I know having a child with a disability is overwhelming, but we can find help, to solve everything that you are having trouble with. So thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week, and I hope I hear from you all soon.